Hey garden friends, today we are going to attempt to save some plants. I've moved these once already. It didn't work, so we're going to do it again. And these are beautiful when they're happy with where they're at. So we are going to attempt one more time to salvage these poor plants that I have tortured to death. So let's get rolling. If you're new here, I'm Pam and I garden in zone 8B of the mountains, in the mountains of Northern California. And though 8B may sound like it's a warm area, I have a short growing season. So I make the best of things and overcome several challenges. And if I can grow a beautiful garden, I know you can too. So let's get to saving these plants. So here is my trusty little shovel, and the hydrangeas, the Bobo hydrangeas, are located behind this raised bed. I really don't have much in here, so stepping on this is not going to be a problem. I do have some irrigation pipes back here that I need to be careful of, and I'll have to move aside some things like that larkspur to look at. And this is some lilies I have back here in a container to see how the hydrangeas are doing. Yeah, I sank a lot. And this one is not looking too bad now. It was really looking bad earlier. And I was thinking I was going to have to dig it up to save it. These are Bobo hydrangeas, and they get about 4 feet tall. And I was hoping to create a backdrop back here in the white, beautiful white flowers later on in the season. And earlier, other things are blooming to bring color. And the last time I was back here, they looked really, really bad. And since right now I am sinking into a gopher tunnel, I was really worried that they were being eaten. I'm just going to weed out some things that may be competing with them, and etc. and see. I may just decide to leave them after all. Okay. Let's see how nice this soil is, to see if maybe I just need to improve the irrigation distribution for these back here. Okay, I got some weeds. And I have some dead limbs. You hear it crackling. And that's why I thought it was toast. But over here, there's a lot of new growth. I'm sorry you can't see it, being back here in this little tunnel. I'll pull these up. So, I know, you probably are saying, oh no, the beautiful poppies. I have them elsewhere growing, and I do want to plant other things in here. So while I'm back here and can reach, I will. Now this poor bamboo needs to be moved somewhere else where I can give it TLC. And it has a container back here that I had it in. Well, it's got holes in it. It was just to kind of disguise the black pot. So I may put that Japanese maple back here to provide the backdrop of color for now. And I have it sitting on a log. I may just put the log back here so it sits up higher. Okay, so I got the Verbena bonarensis back here. This Japanese maple, which definitely needs water. And all of these poppies from behind. And that feverfew can stay. All right, let me look at this one behind me. I have 3 back here. Let me get rid of this bamboo. Let me stick this down in the soil. And maybe the gophers aren't eating my hydrangeas. That's what I really was worried about, that the gophers were eating them. Okay. Like I said, it's a tough spot now that I've put this bed here. Not that it wouldn't have been anyways, because I have things planted so closely together. So let me get that. And that's why I put the raised beds here. It's got wire mesh under it to protect from the gophers. This is some alliums I had back here because they do eat alliums, and they did get to bloom. Okay, that's a larkspur. Where's my other hydrangea? Okay, there. Does this one have any growth on it? Or is that another plant? That's the bonariensis. You know what? I can't tell, so that one's going to have to be dug up. And if it has any chance of surviving, I'll give it an even better chance by digging it up. And I don't mind if the bonariensis comes up too. So, here's that hydrangea. And it has a little bit of growth right here on that one. So digging it up to pamper it, give it fresh, great soil. Let me look at the roots to see. You notice it pulled right up, so. And whatever that was. So yeah, let me make sure that is all the hydrangea and not something else on it. In there, growing. Okay, yeah. So this is going to go into a container. It's barely alive. And it does have stuff growing around it that I need to pull off, but I see a nice strong stem there with growth. So I think it'll do better with being in a container, and then get it good and strong, and then I could put it out in another spot in the garden and just give it a better chance of survivability, because I paid good money for those things. I hate to give up too soon on something that I know can be super beautiful. Now this one's leaning over, so those are coming out. Alrighty, so it looks like I have, there's some daisies coming up back here, which is great. The foxglove is doing great. And I have another one of these Bobo hydrangeas over here. And I want to see how it's doing. It looks like it's struggling as well. So that poor lily needs a little propping up. So I'm going to go ahead and take it out as well. That first one looked really good, so it gets to stay. And these ones, this one needs to come out. It has some growth on it, but it doesn't look great, like it's doing great. So okay, let me get that pulled up. So, oh, I don't have any, yeah, the gophers have been chewing on it, so I probably should dig up the other one too. Because I can see this root has been nibbled on. And you see it hasn't put down big roots, so it's not getting all the water and nutrition it needs. And it's been in there in the ground for over a year. And the new growth down here looks really, I'm going to have to look that up. It doesn't look like healthy growth. It looks like spindly, almost like rose rosette's disease is on roses. So yeah, that's just very weird looking. It's nothing like that one. So I'm going to look that up. Could be a weird disease, and I think I'm blaming the gophers. Okay, so there we go. Now this is very loose, sandy soil, so they might prefer something also that's more moisture retentive. Now this whole back area was lawn. Wow, that's a big old gopher tunnel. And this was just fill dirt, because we were moving and we just wanted it filled in and done. It had a beautiful lawn on it. But for gardening, I still need to add a lot of amendments to make this more moisture retentive and good for some certain plants. Like you see all these others, they don't mind. They're just filling in, doing great. That's the beauty of these old-fashioned flowers, old-fashioned cottage flowers. Forgive my chickens. They're just letting us know that are producing, doing their job. So I may just let these type of flowers fill in and be done with it, and just keep adding amendments. Like my chicken manure in the winter, I pile it high and let it compost. But alrighty, so this is done. I'm going to find containers for these. Now the growth on that one is not the same as on that one. So that's why I'm going to look that one up. And I'll bring it up closer to show you what I'm talking about. And maybe one of you know what it is. So let me get up here. Good thing I don't have too much in this bed yet. I'll bring it up close. Let's see if I can get in the camera here. So you see this growth? See how spindly and spiky it is? I don't think that's normal. Where's the other one? And, okay, let me get all the debris off this one. Okay, now this one, I thought this was part of the growth. This isn't. This is Nicotiana that was coming up from seed in there. I'm sorry if you're not being able to see it. So this one does have more of the spiky growth too, but it looks different. The Nicotiana is usually beautiful. I'm sorry that I had to pull it up with everything else, but yeah, who knows? I will cut away all of the dead, and hopefully this will take it. These plants may just be toast, and I hate to lose them. Like I said, I paid good money for them. They were good-sized plants, and I had high hopes for them, and they just didn't perform well for me yet. So I'm going to give them another chance by potting them up in a container and pampering them, and keep a good eye on them. So that's one chore down for today, except for potting them. I'll get the pots and fill them with good soil, and we'll plant them up. So I have decided on one large container. This is where I dug them up from. And now I'm going to put them over in that container. And I will show you how I'm going to do that. Okay, here's the container. Now, to help fill it up, so I'm not using just all potting soil, I have some garden waste in there. I do that often. And then this is some stuff from the chicken pen. Now, it's got a lot of carbon in it, so it's not too high of a nitrogen, and it acts great as a filler and to compress all that down, all the garden debris down. And I'm going to water that in with my hose. This is my hose link. I've got Vigo Garden sent me a couple of their hoses to set up, and I'm going to do that, one over there by the greenhouse and one out front. So I'm just going to wet this down thoroughly. Now I want the debris to be below the line of the root mass. So that will all be potting soil. Now this will rot down some because of the debris in the bottom, but that's okay. So we'll let that sink in. So let that sink in, and I'm going to go get my bag of potting soil to top it up with. Now, one thing I am going to do right now is I'm going to get a container and put some organic Rev in it to soak these. I'm going to soak these for probably about half an hour, and I'm going to trim back all of the dead stems, and I'll put my glasses on, examine it closely to make sure they're dead stems, or also just cut them all back to probably about 6-8 inches here. But first, soak them in organic Rev to get these roots stimulated into really getting going, and that will make for a stronger plant. I have allium bulbs in here too. I'll pull out all the weeds and allium bulbs and do that. So as much as I would just like to get this done this morning, I am going to take the time to make sure that these have the best chance possible of recovering. I really want that. So I'm going to put the organic Rev here in my bucket. I knew this bottle was nearly empty, so I'm just going to pour the rest of it in here. And then I'm going to get my hose and put the water in it. Let's get down here where these are at. And I'm going to prune out what I know is looking super dead. Oh, that had green in it, so that could have been revived. So I have even much more hope than I did previously. So I need to take this tag off of that one. Okay, so the rest of these, no, that one's dead. Oh yeah, it's because it's broken down here. Alrighty. So I'll scrape it a little bit. That one's dead. Okay. These ones I'm just going to prune down to the growth. I think everything else is going to get like down to 8 inches. And then I'm also going to prune some of the roots. Now, what does that do? That can stimulate new growth with these. Root pruning is not that hard, and it can improve things. So, you know, that's how they keep bonsai plants in small containers, is they go in and root prune them. Alrighty, so everything else is going to get pruned back. The little spindlies, I'm going to prune out completely. And just leave a few, I shouldn't say a few, less than what's all here. And I will still look up about this spindly type growth instead of the big leaves, just in case there's could be something, treatment or something that I could do that would help that. Okay, these all looked pretty much dead. That big center one was alive, but it's okay, it'll come back. Yeah, these don't have any green in them. So we will just rely on that one big one. Yeah, that one's pretty dead. So cutting out the dead helps it because the plant isn't trying to revive the dead branches, and it'll focus its energies on putting down new roots and getting going, getting healthy again. So into the bucket it goes. So this one also will do the same. All right, back to the task at hand. I'm going to put in some soil. I'm back here behind you. But let me get my gloves really quick. Just nearly a full bag, so it's heavy. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to kick the camera. Anyways, this is, uh-oh, I'm crooked. One second. That is how things have been. This is the next day. Yeah, life got a little out of control. At least, though, they're still soaking. They'll be fine. The plants, at least I hope they'll be fine. But I'm going to put some of the soil in here between the layer I already added. And then I'll just set these in it and on top of this soil and set the plants on it. Yeah, I'm hoping this will save these plants because they definitely just weren't doing well. So here's one. Now I looked up about this strange foliage and it just said about it being stressed. So I already knew that. And the foliage on top is looking healthier than that other. Okay, I can put in a little bit more soil. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Make sure I have a good layer of this nice healthy soil. I guess I should try to lift it. I'm trying to protect my back. Because the soil is actually moist, so it makes this big bag quite heavy. Okay, that is really a nice layer of the soil. And then I'll have it where that big stem's pointing outward, or maybe forward. Trying to make the best use of space in this container. And this one is really, really sad looking. It has one stem. I don't know if that one's even going to be salvageable. I found my first Japanese Japanese beetle this morning. I am devastated. I know exactly where it came from and how it got here, and I'm mad at myself. We can talk about that later in another video, but that's just what's just so on my mind. I can't believe I did it because I have been worried about Japanese maples showing up. I keep saying maples, Japanese beetles. And when I saw it this morning, I just could have kicked myself because it was my fault. all my fault. And it was avoidable. And I hate when I do that. All right, okay. So those are all planted in with good soil. I know it's going to settle a little, so I'm going to put a little more. And then I'm going to water it in with the organic Rev water that they've been soaking in. So it'll be part of the soil too. I'm shaking the soil off the base and pour this in. These buckets, I got these at Walmart, and I love them. They come in so handy for things. I also put pots in them with flowers, and then it looks like it's coming out of this, but and I can trade them out. So it's like a container to hold containers. So here, my friends, is my Bobo Hydrangea rescue. I don't know if this will work, but they definitely were dying where they were at. And hopefully this will save them. They have all new soil, away from any gophers eating the roots, etc. So this is the best chance they have. And I can only have high hopes that these are actually a tough plant that have just been given bad circumstances. Well, I hope you enjoyed coming on along as we tried to save these Bobo Hydrangeas. Now they're beautiful. I've seen them in a lot of people's gardens. And I don't know why. And these were big plants when I bought them. What the size they are now is like nothing. They've just really suffered. And I'm really have high hopes of salvaging them. I have one more back in that same area that I took these two out of. I'm thinking I'm going to dig it up too and give its own dedicated pot. And I may even bring it up here on the deck, make it part of the deck garden so that I can really oversee it and see if I could revive these things. I may have tortured them too long, and it may be a lost cause, but at least I will know I have tried my dandiest to get them to grow. And then, you know what? I will bring you back, and I will let you know how this attempt turned out, if we did manage to salvage them, or if I just had to toss them out the window, out the door, into the compost heap. You know what I mean. All right, so come on back. I'll be sure to share. Maybe in a few months, I will have by then an idea by the end of summer whether these things are going to make it at all. So also, I know that it's not just here, because I have other hydrangeas, these panicle hydrangeas. I have Zinfandel. I have the Quickfire Fab. I have two of the Quickfire Fabs, and they both seem to be doing just fine. In fact, the one that's in the Rose Cottage garden has got little buds on it, so I know it's going to bloom. And I have the Limelight Prime also, and it's doing okay where it's at. So, like I said, I don't know what happened with these other than maybe the gophers have been eating on them. I don't know. I did, when I pulled up the two, you did notice that the roots were not very deep or doing anything really. So there was evidence that the gophers had been chewing on them. So that could have set them back too. All right. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.